Hey everybody, Exercise 101 here. Today we're going to continue off the tutorials with making a loot chest. So first off, just create a cube object or use a chest prefab if you have one already, and then child a canvas, so create a canvas child to it, and then inside the canvas name it loot chest or whatever you want. Inside that canvas we're going to add a panel. With the panel, we're going to want to add several buttons. So for this tutorial, I'm using 9 buttons. You could use anything less than 9 buttons. Just feel free to download the custom script trigger event 2, so this way you can send 9 parameters instead of just 3. Also, underneath our loot chest, not any of the canvas here, create a empty game object, call it item lists, and add a Plygame script to it, and this is where we're going to be storing the list of our items here. So basically, go to our common, go to our list here, and just grab add to list and add. If you're wondering how to put the items, just go to items here, grab the item right here, and then just click it on there, and then you'll be able to select your items. And now just add it to a list, give the list name anything you want, just try to remember that that's the list. So loot chest item list, all these 3 items have been added to that. That's good to go. Now let's go to our loot chest at the ply blocks, add a integer that's going to decide how many items, so it's going to go from 0 to 8, 0 being 1, 8 being actually 9 under the hood. So it's going to pick between those and decide, and when that number is set on state enter, when we open up the bag, it'll open up with the desired amount of items that goes with the selected number that was randomized. But before we do that, let's go to our canvas here. Didn't need that to go like that, but anyway. Having our canvas open, we can then add a ply blocks, add multiple booleans, one to check if it's opened, so call one opened, and then each slot here give it a local variable called slot 1 opened, slot 2 opened, slot 3 opened, etc. down to 9. Now we can go back into our loot chest here and open up our ply block script. Things are going to get a little bit messy looking here, but we'll go into our on state enter. We'll set up the decision of the number. So if opened in canvas loot chest, so we can just drag and drop the canvas loot chest child into this, and then if it equals false, we want to set decided items in self to random in range. So this is an integer 0 to 9. If you read this, the max value is never going to reach the max number listed. It'll only reach the one number under. So if I have it here as 9, it'll actually be 8. But remember that 0 is actually 1 under the hood. Alright, so now that you have that, we can go into our onInteract stopped here. We can just add a disable, so objects, enable disable object, and then drag and drop this loot chest items right here. Got all our buttons, put that in there, and then go to our onInteract. Now we're going to want to enable the loot chest, so we can just copy this, pop it in there, switch it to enable. Now we're going to check it once again if opened in the canvas loot chest is false. If it is false, we're now going to go through all of these if-thens, 0 through 8, and basically if any of these are equal to that number, which one of them will be because this is being decided being from 0 to 8, so that it will be decided no matter what. Basically that's going to trigger a different event each time. Each of these events has one extra button available. So this is 0, so it's only going to come with one button parameter, where the next one will come with 2 button parameters, and then so on, 1 extra for each as we go down to reach 9 buttons. So this way no chest will ever be the same. You open up one chest, it could have 4 items. You open up the next chest, it could have 1 item. Next one could have 9. This way it makes things, really... So the more items you actually have in your game and on that item list, the more variety you'll get for each chest, which will be nice. Anyway, to create this parameter here, the first thing you're going to want to do is go back to your common. We're going to want to get the list block, get from list. Just drag it and drop it in there. When we have this get from list block in here, we're going to need a random in range integer. So back to math. Man, I'm having a hard time breathing today for some reason. So grab our integer, and 0 to 3, meaning it's 0, 1, and 2 are the numbers that will come to. Perfect. We're going to get 3 items from of the list loot chest items list. Perfect, because we only have 3 items defined in there, and that's what we need. And that list is located on the items list button right here, item right here. So we can just drag and drop that in there. Voila, good to go. We can just copy this and paste it into the other 9 ones as we go down this list here. So really it's just tedious work here. It's the exact same thing each one, except for the trigger event is a different event. You'll see momentarily. So sets items 1 slot basically is literally just 1 slot. Then set items 2 slot is 2 slots, then 3 slots, 4 slots, and so on. So each of them will send the respected amount of params with that. There is nothing more at the end, I believe. I just have it ending at number 8, which is really number 9. Perfect. Now if we go into our canvas loot chest, which is parented to our loot chest, we have more work. Okay, for a second there I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Okay, so our first item here is set items 1 slot. So it's very tiny, but that's because it's just doing 1 slot. It's going to set the interactable to true on our button right here, which is going to happen. And then it's going to set texture equal get image 1 from param1. So the parameter that we're setting, so we're setting a local variable at the beginning called param1 in self to what param1 actually is. So this way we don't ever lose the parameter that we were given. It'll be stored. So if you leave the chest and then go back to the chest when you have more inventory space later on in the game, it'll still be there and you can collect it. And again, we need to check if opened in self equals false. If it is false, then we're going to set interactable to true on the button, set the texture to the item, which is the parameter. So we're going to set texture equal get item 1 from param1, and then we need the raw image of the button here. So we'll just drag and drop that raw image of the button, and there you go. We now set opened in self to true because it has been opened, and we no longer want to generate any of this. Like we don't want to try to send any of this when there's no actual information or if there's old information, right? So let's continue. If we look at our set items slot 2, as you can see, the only difference to this is now we're saving our param2 and we're accessing button number 1, which is actually technically button 2, and we are going to set them both to interactable true, set both their images, and then again set our open to true so that this way none of this will regenerate itself again. The only thing now we really have left to do here is some slots here. So these slots, so we want to check if slot 1 opened in self equals false. So if that's true, we're going to add a copy of the param1. So basically when we click on the item, it's going to grab it from the local variable that we created, storing the parameter, because technically the parameter is in here. We can't access the parameter unless we were to try to send that parameter back to here. The best way to do that is to set what the parameter is holding into a local version of that parameter. Kind of a genius idea. I believe simple, everyone's done it. I kind of used this based off of, I think his name's Ryan off the forum. He made a simple version of this. I believe there's a more advanced version now, so you could always go check out his tutorials. Feel free to. This is just how I did it based off of the first version that was released that didn't come with like all the protection features and the preventing of the getting random errors, you know what I mean? So that slot, and then once you've made slot 1 through 9, we could actually go to our on-click event down here in the button script of the button. Just drag the canvas loot chest item on there, then go to Plyblocks, trigger event, and then you're just going to type in slot 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5, so that every time you press this button, the respected button, you know, the slot will be set perfectly. So to see how this works, if you want to see the 9 parameters, we're saving all 9 parameters here. We're setting interactable to all 9 buttons, and I'm going to set all 9 buttons images, and then again set it open to true. Now if we save everything here, we run the game. Oh, I forgot to disable the canvas in there. Okay, anyway, so we'll just disable it right now because it hasn't generated anything anyway. Its decided items is 1 right now, so if we go ahead and open up this chest here, it's got 1 item. Technically, when it says decided items 1, remember that 0 is also an item, so there's 2 items in here. So we can go ahead and take the 2 items out. As you can see, they're no longer there anymore. But if we look at our inventory, we now have the 2 new items, a small potion and a regular potion. We re-access this, it is not there anymore. Let us items. If I drop another one in here, we will again there is 2 items in this one as well. If we just load into it one more time, we'll see if it generates a different number, which it obviously will. Jesus, I keep forgetting that I gotta disable this. Always make sure that you have your panel loot chest disabled at the beginning. Now we can just check right here. As you can see, we have 5, so that's actually 6 items that are going to be in there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items. I have my buttons placed weird, so technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I guess it would be 7, 8, 9 instead of, it's going from the right side instead of the other way around, which is weird, but hey, whatever. I'll just have to move them, really. It's no big deal at all. But yeah, that's the loot chest, guys. So a small thing is you're going to want to make sure that if there is anything persisting at this point, to disable the persist. So there's nothing persisting at this point at all. So you're only really going to want to add a persist block to this one right here. So we add persist object. We don't want to persist the destroyed state. but we do want to persist the block's local variables, its persist position and its start as active. We definitely want these to all happen. So this way when we save the game and load into the game, our loot chest will actually be saved. Yeah. It'll always end up generating new numbers in the decided every time you start the game, but because opened is already opened, it's not going to give you the new items. So we can actually test that right now, see if that is a problem. Didn't think of it sooner, but I guess it'd be a good idea to think of it now, but whatever. Oh my god. Loot chest. So again, we have 6 items in our loot chest here. Let's grab these items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Walk away. Now let's save the game. Load back in. Continue. Of course, the damn loot chest is opened again. We have our items here. Our loot chest has generated a new number, but it shouldn't give us anything again. Perfect. Because if we look into here, everything is already opened and set. So, thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Hope you enjoyed the video. Enjoy making your UI at some point, because, you know, this is very basic looking UI, so gets to Paint or GIMP, guys, and start making your shit fancy if you haven't done so already. Probably do a little bit of a image tutorial on a simple item, like image, so this way all our items can have the same like image background or foreground. Take care.